Hello, dear beautiful Sagittarians. Welcome to the Oracle of the Feather Crown Tree. This is your reading for when the sun is in Leo season, so it's for a month. And I'm going to start with the readings from the author's decks, but please jump ahead if you want to the intuitive reading, which is more on the fly. That's at the end of this reading. So I'll explain as we go through the different positions, and I hope that you do enjoy this. So in the center we have a card to represent living from your heart space this month, and your message is, you are a beautiful soul. Look within and you will see it. There is a pearl in your heart. Close your eyes and feel it. The most precious thing is inside you. Calm your mind, meditate, and you will feel your soul's infinite spiritual realm. In looking within, you will never go without. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. I just realized this. Just turned over the card, and you have your own position in the first house of Aries. So I start the reading to the left in the center. That's going to be the first house, and we'll go counterclockwise, and all of the other cards represent the different 12 houses of the Zodiac. So this has happened. This is the third time, because I believe it was Libra that got their own card, and it definitely Leo did too. Okay, so let's see here. So this is really about your identity, which I find so funny too, because it's coming up as like yourself. Fire's strong drives to stand out from the crowd as it rests in the mutable, go with the flow quality. The key phrase, I perceive, means there's a motivation to look around, to discover your own individuality, while finding your place in the world. In this situation, ask, how can I best be true to myself, be honest with yourself and the rest of the world? Sagittarian energy is said to be a mile long and an inch deep, as well as self-involved. Slow down so that you can perceive the depth as well as the breadth of the situation. Avoid careless unkindness. And then moving to the second house, the house of Taurus. This is your house of value. And from the Celtic Shaman Oracle, you have the Well of Sages. The primary source of wisdom and the knowledge of the ancestors comes through the waterways of the land that break forth from the inner realms and bring knowledge into the lands of humankind. This is a vital card which offers direct passage into the underworld. The third house, house of Gemini, house of communication, of the neighborhood, community, your siblings. From the Tantric Dakini Oracle, we have slay the ego. Way out on a limitless space is the goddess Kali, depicted against a milky nebula, her dark body reminding us of the vastness of our outer space. She is known as Kalaraturi, the night of destruction, the event which will happen at the end of the world and which is necessary before a new world can be created. She has 4 arms holding a sword with which to slay the ego, the head of a demon killed by her in battle, and the last 2 in mystic gestures indicating that she grants boons and rids her devotees of all fears. She is seated in a lotus posture of equilibrium, wears a crown, and is garlanded with severed heads, symbolizing the original matrix vibrations comprising all material things. Her tongue is extended and red, indicating her all-consuming nature. She is not bound by an earthly restriction, and her functions is to help cut through these kinds of bondage. As the destroyer of time, she is the slayer of the ego, which is depicted by the decapitated head of the demon, which she holds by the hair. The fourth house, the house of ancestor and family and home, house of Cancer. From the Prophet deck, you have give not of wisdom, but of faith and lovingness. No man can reveal to you aught but that which already lies half asleep in the dawning of your knowledge. The teacher who walks in the shadow of the temple among his followers gives not of his wisdom, but rather of his faith and his lovingness. If he is indeed wise, he does not bid you to enter the house of his wisdom, but rather leads you to the threshold of your own mind. The fifth house, Leo. So this would be sort of your presentation of self, the stage that you act on, how you show up, your ability to sort of be seen, and your seat of power as well. You have Isis, Holy Queen, Mother of us all, embodied manifestation of love. Isis and her husband Osiris ruled the fertile lands of Egypt during the first times. Isis was beloved of all the people whom she served as midwife and as teacher of weaving and the healing arts. It was because of her great capacity to love and her skill in the magical arts that she was able to raise her murdered husband to conceive their son Horus, so that he could restore the enlightened reign of his father. Isis is the pure, clean essence of spirit embodied in matter. She is always with us on this journey as a loving, supportive force through every transformation we undergo. Isis remembers us when we die, the shaman's death. She makes us whole again, and she urges us forth into a new incarnation, a new way of being at a higher octave of consciousness. She's the queen of both heaven and earth, and unfolds her multicolored wings to build a rainbow bridge of love between the worlds of form and formlessness. If you have chosen this card, Isis will see into the heart of the matter that you have brought before her to dispel confusion and allow clarity to emerge. She will show you how to bridge the personal with the transpersonal, as above, so below. Isis is committed to renewal and regeneration. She assists you in seeing the both and rather than the either or in whatever situation you are involved with. As you merge with Isis, allow yourself to feel the embrace of the Great Mother as her rainbow wings surround and envelop you. Notice how in her embrace she balances and attunes the chakras. Listen for her voice within as she offers you encouragement. Isis loves you regardless of what is happening in the world or in your life, and connects you in a powerful way to your own self-love. The sixth house of Virgo, from the Enchanted Spell Oracle, you have Strength. When the Strength card appears, you may be close to giving up on a long-cherished goal. Things might have become too hard or too boring and not tangible results. And no tangible results are being seen. This card's lesson is to never give up. Draw on the strength and resilience of the oak's energy to give you the push you need to continue. The seventh house of Libra, from the Goddess Power deck, you have Leslie, Revelation. There are moments when synchronicity brings all the elements together for a flash of insight to rise up in you in a glorious epiphany. Whatever was not clear becomes crystalline in an instant. It is as if you are able to simultaneously perceive every facet in a diamond. You know without a doubt that you are on the right track as deep understanding sinks into your very soul. In this moment, change and transformation takes place, and a transcendent moment is offered to you as an extraordinary gift. Now is one of those times the Chinese goddess, mother of the lightning, brings revelations into your life with a flash. She gives you this as a result of all the hard work you have put into dismantling your old self and making space for who you want to become. This is a very auspicious time. So that came up in your sector of relationships and balance and harmony. The next house is the 8th house, House of Scorpio. This is going to be dealing with the subconscious, the mystery, death. Your card is coming from the Mystical Shaman Oracle, and you have the Hunter. Before the dawn of agriculture, we hunted in the forest to feed our kin. The hunter never takes more than what the village needs to survive, often taking only one creature, the good kill. He is a master tracker who knows which path to follow to find success. Rely on your own skills to traverse the thick forest you are in to reach your destination. You need to follow the tracks left by Spirit to claim your bounty, which is already prepared and being offered to you. Do not follow the maps drawn by others, as they will not lead you true. Instead, become the map maker. Find your internal compass and use all your senses, including your common sense. The 9th house of Sagittarius. This is the house of higher learning, of things that are beyond our normal comprehension that can seem foreign to us. From a yogic path, you have Durga, goddess of inner strength and protection. You are exhibiting great strength in the face of things that would make others, including former versions of yourself, crumble. This warrior goddess is with you, carrying her bow and arrow, sword, trident, lotus, thunderbolt, golden discus, and conch. You are embodying her fierce strength and loving protection. You have overcome major hardships, and your willpower and will continue to leap over any challenges that confront you. Call upon Durga Ma whenever you need an extra ounce of strength. So you're kind of getting this repeat about strength, and like you're trying to find your way into something new and redefine yourself. Okay, so your 10th house, Capricorn. This is about your outwardly achievements, how you appear to others at your best, and your reputation. From a Heart Path Oracle, you have swimming in duality, laying a strong foundation. The central, most commanding object in this card is the oyster. Oysters ground us and are all about laying strong foundations. If you're starting a new project or relocating, it is important that you wholeheartedly commit to the process. The highly transformative ability of oyster will assist you in all the changes you are going through, and what you thought was temporary might quite possibly be permanent. The oyster reminds you that there is a time to be busy and take risks, and a time to close your shell and go within to find peace, solitude, rest. The two koi fish appear together to balance the turbulent waters of life. Like these fish, you may too need to be part of a team to do what you need to get done. Exciting opportunities, advancement of career, and a long-lasting relationship might just swim into your life sometime soon. This might also be a good time for travel and adventure. But remember, trips aren't all necessarily taken physically. Some of the best journeys are taken in the mind and spirit. Listen only to the voice of your heart and see what surfaces. It is the only reality and path to happiness. the 11th house of Aquarius. This is sort of the sacred rebel position. It's about really being true to yourself and supporting humanity's ability to do the same on a collective level. So from the Sacred Geometry deck, you have Steam Cave, speaking about elemental forces. This card speaks of connecting with elemental forces. The geometry here is of triangles and star tetrahedrons. The illustration was inspired by a hot spring steam cave in which the bather sits in medicinal waters inside the earth and listens to the pulse of the planet as the springs ebb and flow and gurgle. There is a womb-like feeling within this cave in the earth, where fire heats water into steam. You know how this feels deep in your bones, though you may never have experienced it. Coming from a primal place in our cellular memory, this feeling holds the power of the elements and speaks directly to the relationship all humans have with those elements and with Mother Earth. Many traditions call in the elements as they begin sacred ceremony. In doing so, a deeper connection is established between the material world and the world of spirit. This card reminds you to honor your relationship to the earth and elemental forces, and to ground yourself in the knowing that wherever you go, you are always home. Try constructing an elemental altar or placing photographs or art representing the elements somewhere where you will see them regularly. Find a way to honor the earth and her elemental forces in whatever way feels appropriate to you. And the last card for the 12th house of Pisces is from the White Light Oracle. This is really dealing with expanded consciousness and going beyond things, the higher mind, your spiritual connection. And you have perfume of Sophia. Trust that your question about your life will be answered. Even now, you are in the process of working your way toward the answers that will bring you clarity and higher understanding. There is a kindness in how the universe delivers a message. There is a story of 3 rabbis who went into a room and saw God. One rabbi dropped dead, the other went crazy, and the third one became enlightened. It was the same room and the same divine presence, so what accounts for the different outcomes? When we are ready for knowledge, divine guidance is incredibly helpful and healing. However, we may need certain experiences to become ready. There is as much grace in veiling a truth as in revealing it. There is a beautiful Sufi teaching that destiny is granted with compassion. There is a time to prepare for knowledge, a time to receive it, and a time to live it. If you are pushing for a resolution, an answer, an understanding before it is time for you to know, you'll feel frustrated. It will be more constructive and enjoyable for you to engage with what is. Will it require the development of your character, the capacity for patience, for trust and faith, for commitment and devotion, even when there is no evidence you shall succeed? Yes, it likely shall, especially if you are carving a path that is unique and creative. To live in such a way is wonderfully courageous and inspired and requires spiritual maturity. You will have your answers, and in the interim, you are doing beautifully. Continue with your journey. Okay, Sagittarius, I'm going to go around your wheel again, looking intuitively at what we have here in the spread. It seems like your heart needs to be led by a sense of a connection with your third eye. And there's something that you're not quite comfortable with in doing this. Like, even as you're going there, you might be feeling a little bit of mixed emotion, a little bit of somberness, of just not feeling your best. And this just may be like where you're at right now. It does feel kind of heavy. Things can feel a little bit moody and even towards a darker mood. Not a lot of happiness, and you may be feeling kind of emotional even, and maybe even having like a tug between just allowing yourself to feel emotional and having your thoughts. But I do see that there's at least a consciousness of that. There's something that you need through insight that you can't necessarily produce on your own without utilizing this process. You seem open to adventure, even if you're not quite sure where you're aiming yet. Even if you are not even ready to aim, you're just sort of stepping up, and you're being backed by a sense of passion, of knowledge, something burning in you. You may not fully be in touch with this passion yet, but I think at some point how could it not be all consuming at some point? It is so big, and it has a sense of something sort of intellectual as well. You may be just kind of emerging from some fogginess that is just even a little bit cluttered. You're not standing on firm ground right now. It's very mysterious, like as you try to have some footing through where you may be inspired to go next. You seem to be, though, in a very healthy place as far as like knowing what you value. Your surroundings may be reflecting a lot of health, maybe just a lot of elemental support there. And there's a sense that even if one sun is setting, another sun is rising, like you're kind of in this transitional space. Things could be a little bit blocked by maybe things that have already been in place, by what you've already built, and maybe kind of blocking your vision. And you may find that not only just being in the earth, but really connecting with water and the other beings like fish that exist in the water, taking time to observe them and seeing what you can learn from them. I mean, fish alone can teach you so much about how to just move in your reality. See if there's just something, if you do connect in that way, that you can gain from your environment about how to travel through your space. You may be busy a lot with communication, different types of communication, just kind of all over the place. It's not necessarily bringing you a lot of joy. It may just feel kind of dutiful and very intellectual, what you're probably communicating about. And it seems like you're probably the authority on something or many of the things that you're communicating about. But maybe all of this busy work isn't really bringing you much happiness. It's not feeding you, and it's not really allowing you to feed your environment. It's just you have learned to become sort of a robot, a mechanical machine to perhaps process a lot of information. But it may have you just feeling a little disconnected and discontented. There may be something in your ancestry, something that feels very old and wise that's available for you, that you may seek to connect with, or something within yourself that has that presence of, like the grandfather energy, a very learned energy that that knows what's best, that knows how to provide stability. And you may not be seeing this right now and not realizing that this is a resource, but there's definitely a very strong presence here. It could also be just a father or anyone that has some sort of wisdom for you. There's a really, really like majestic and magical way that you are showing up in how you kind of want to perform yourself in daily life. You seem to have a lot of self-mastery and abilities that you're just full of to give to your world, and that have really made you rich in skill. And you've listened to a lot. You've been given a lot of opportunity to connect with an energy that helps you grow and helps you be alive and kind of in the moment, and allows you to be intellectual and think in beautiful ways. And you may not be doing, maybe kind of like on pause with this right now, like maybe not doing a lot with the skills that you have, but there's a sense that you still want to keep growing, that's important. So maybe there's more for you that you want to bring to your skill set, to incorporate, to keep allowing you to show up as best as you can. Your kind of day-to-day life may feel sort of like a maze. Like as you get involved with it, you can kind of just go deeper and deeper and maybe feel even somewhat trapped. Or that could be just sort of something that you coexist with, like you realize there is that opportunity to get lost in that reality. And maybe you're kind of taking some time out for yourself and connecting with an energy that's perhaps a little bit more divine, feminine type of energy, that's more intuitive, more emotional, more inner world, just respecting your inner voice if you identify with this type of energy and what it can do for you. And that you'll sort of be nourished and really providing yourself a lot of self-love through connecting with this type of energy. Something about your way of relating to other people may feel kind of beyond what you're normally used to experiencing. There may be a heightened state of engagement with people, like where you're really coming across with such mastery, such illumination, such amount of profundity, and you're able to sort of like give that and manifest that so easily that you almost bewilder your own self in witnessing your own sense of power, of your ability to create, and through that creation add some healing into the world. It's just very like, I don't even know how to describe that energy. It's very luminescent, very powerful. Now, in your subconscious, you may be experiencing kind of a mixture of how to go about, like what type, like not being quite sure of what energy to embody to go about getting your needs met. You're kind of in a way of like, I need to see things clearly, and then maybe I need to just be doing things for the greater good of perhaps my family, my circle of people that is my support system. There just might be a little bit of confusion about all this, who you really are, what you want to be, and it just may not be fully integrated. I mean, you can take on more than one sort of identity and blend it together at the same time, but there does seem to be a little bit of like there's a lot of resources that are available, but you're just not quite fully embodying them all, and you're very focused on something, so you may not be seeing all of the powerful resources that you do have access to. There seems to be something in your distance realm that like wants to look at you, like wants to see you, like all eyes on you. So something like that could be eventually coming your way. And you being in accord with this presence that's watching you, you may feel like you're kind of broke down, and like maybe you're very, very, very high functioning at one point, like excessive multitasking, and you've done it and you've done it and you've done it, and it's just so part of who you are. But there's like this breaking down of that energy, and you just sort of allowing it to crumble, and you're not really that concerned with it. Like it feels too heavy for you. And there may be something emerging that's more primal that you haven't really even quite tapped into, that wants to come out, that you're just starting to see. You're just getting in touch with this potential that it could lead you in a new direction. Something definitely more on that primal level. And this is about what's going to keep you grounded in life, what's going to provide a sense of stability for you, what you're going to build on. So your very foundation may be in the process of being reconstructed. You may be experiencing a real split in how your presence is in the world right now, and it's definitely not a bad thing. Like there's sort of a beautiful mirroring quality between, perhaps even if your presence doesn't feel split, but like your mind and then how you live in reality may be very like they may be, I want to say, in alignment, and they could be making kind of waves, like their ability to really fill your life is having like a ripple effect. And now as I'm looking even deeper into this one, I'm seeing really that there's something that's very precious that you hold sort of in your center. And more of that could be coming to you, like you could be multiplying what feels really precious to you and growing it in a strange way, like but somehow it requires, whatever's going on here, it requires you acknowledging, you seeing, you connecting with something that's very precious at your very center. And by doing this, you will be able to influence your environment in a very profound way. You seem to be definitely going within, definitely maybe you could have a partner that you're sharing some alone time with, sort of helping you reflect on what matters to you most. Maybe you need to get in touch with what matters to them the most too, and sort of make sure that you're creating the same kind of space together. With that, there's definitely a connection of some passion that's leading your ability to come together like this. It could also just be, two aspects of yourself, your feminine and your masculine energies that really are working together, even though they're taking a little bit of downtime to let the earth's resources just nourish them and be kind of quiet and in solitude for a while. This is part of a process of building something that's going to be manifested in a way that is just like incredible. It's gonna, like, it's going to help you build passion by resting. And again, I'm getting this sense of, like I did in the heart card, this sense of connecting to your third eye, going for that wisdom that's maybe more psychic, that needs to tap into realms beyond what you consider, what you identify with as yourself and your thoughts and, your mind, your ego. And that this is going to be pretty much the highest thing that you can do for yourself this month, is tapping into that source of divine inspiration. And it's going to help you then think in a way that reconnects you to the world and lets a lot of light come back out of you through what you've gained from the insights that it gives you. And that's what I have for you for this month, Sagittarius. Thank you for sharing this with me. It's been a pleasure. And if you want to see any of my other readings, you can check my different playlists. I have like at least 5 different other themed spreads that I do throughout the weeks. So take care. Sending you so much love and peace.